Most people think that it takes 10 years to go from B1 English level all the way to C2 fluency. However, that's not true. And the truth is that most learners stay stuck at B1, not because it takes forever, but because they focus on the wrong things. That's why today I'm going to show you 6 things you can do to fast track your fluency and move towards C2 much faster than you could have ever imagined. So first of all, why does this happen? Why do we get stuck at a certain level of English? Well, science and linguists have a few explanations. First, there's something called interlanguage theory. Basically, your brain builds its own version of English. It's sort of like a mini English that works in your everyday life. You're confident with the English that you use inside your bubble. But when you step outside of your bubble, into unfamiliar conversation patterns, that's when your English can start to feel incomplete. Then there's something called automaticity. I know it's a big word, but at B1 level, your brain starts automating common patterns, which is great for speed, but if those patterns are wrong or incorrect, they fossilize, which means your mistakes could become reinforced every time you repeat them. And finally, there's this thing called input hypothesis. Experts say that to keep improving, you need your normal input plus 1. That means you need to be practicing at a level that's just outside of your comfort zone if you want to keep improving. But most learners keep consuming content at their comfortable level, so the brain doesn't stretch as much and progress is slower. So if you're stuck at B1, and you want to move forward, in this video, I'm going to give you a 6-step roadmap. You can start using these 6 habits today, and they can help to take you from the plateau all the way to C2 fluency much faster and in a more efficient way. So step 1 is speaking practice. So if you're not speaking every day, then your English is freezing in place. Research shows that what you repeat becomes hardwired. So if you say something like, yesterday I go to work, when you should be saying, yesterday I went to work, then your brain starts to believe that the incorrect sentence was correct. To fix this, you can break fossilization by speaking more. You can use your voice notes on WhatsApp, you can talk to yourself in the mirror, you can even record yourself for 2 minutes every day on your phone, almost like a video diary. Or the best thing you can do is find a conversation partner. Don't wait until you feel ready to start speaking. Speaking is how you're going to get ready. Okay, step 2 is how you listen. So most learners can understand slow English, but when native speakers start speaking fast, that's when learners can easily start to feel lost. To fix this, your brain needs to get used to real, natural speed English. Research shows that when you listen without subtitles, yes, it might feel much harder to begin with, but actually your listening skills improve so much. They get much stronger, and because of this, you can understand much faster. So what you can do right now is choose a show that you enjoy, watch an episode once with subtitles turned on, and then watch the same episode again with subtitles turned off. This is called narrow listening, and you can do the same thing with YouTube videos and podcasts. So just choose one video or podcast and listen to it repeatedly until you can understand 90% of everything that's being said. Then once you can understand, move on to the next video. And trust me, if you do this, you'll be like a sponge, absorbing English like water. Okay, so step 3 is reading. Your vocabulary won't grow if you listen to the same everyday words. Okay, so this is actually true, and I've done some more research, and actually reading exposes you to 2 to 3 times more rare words that you wouldn't find just by watching TV or having normal conversations. So actually this is the secret to where C1 and C2 vocabulary hides, and this is where you can find it in books and in articles. So you can start with blogs or articles or maybe school stories and books, and you don't need to obsess over every single word. Just focus on repeated expressions. When you're reading, you can also read aloud, because this is going to help your pronunciation. And you're not only going to find useful words, you're also going to find common sentences that are used in English over and over again. An extra tip is if you're reading a fiction book, you could find the audio version and listen to the audio book at the same time as reading. So this is called shadowing, and if you're reading and you're listening at the same time, it's really going to help you to hear the words, hear the pronunciation, and it's really going to help with your pronunciation practice. Step 4 is immersing yourself in English. So if English is something that you have to study for maybe 30 minutes or an hour or two, it's always just going to feel like homework. But actually, fluency comes when the language surrounds you. Have you ever heard of the word immersion? Basically, if you change your whole environment to be English, it's going to be such a fast track on your way to fluency. Did you ever visit a country for a few weeks on holiday and found that you learned lots of words because you were surrounded by that language every day? Well, this is what we're going to do, but from the comfort of our own homes. Switch your phone and your laptop to English. Follow English speaking accounts on social media. Basically just consume English media instead of what you usually listen to. The more you live in English, the faster your brain rewires itself. And soon enough, you'll be thinking in English, you'll be dreaming in English, and you'll be improving at a crazy rate. Step 5 is feedback. So practice without correction just locks in mistakes. So it's kind of obvious, but language research shows that learners improve faster when they get immediate feedback. Without someone telling you made a mistake, the mistakes become set in your mind and they become much harder to change. So what you need to do is find someone who can correct you. A tutor, a language partner, even a patient friend or family member. You need to keep an error log. So every time you repeat a mistake, so you can write it down and review it later. For example, many students say, "He said me," but the correct sentence is, "He told me." Catching these mistakes early can make a huge difference. So without feedback, you might keep repeating the same mistakes for years, but with feedback, you can fix the mistakes within weeks or immediately. And actually, I made this little tool that can help you check if you're making mistakes or if you're not sure about something. Let's meet at this side of town. And basically, you can speak or type into it, and it will give you an explanation of any mistakes that you've made. And at the bottom, it will give you a little description of what you did wrong and different sentences that you could have used instead. It's completely free, so if you want to try it, I'll leave a link for this in the description. Step 6 is mindset. So motivation always drops when you feel stuck, and most learners give up right there. And we feel like we're spending so many hours studying English, but we still aren't improving that much anymore. So memory science shows that spaced repetition studying, which is small daily reviews, beats long study sessions almost every time. And psychology shows that celebrating your small wins and having smaller goals keeps your motivation alive for longer. So actually that means practicing for 10 or 20 minutes every day beats practicing 3 hours once a week. And make sure you celebrate your small wins. So if you finished watching a podcast or if you learned a new word and you managed to use it in conversation today, give yourself a pat on the back. And most importantly, don't be afraid to practice and make mistakes. Even native speakers make mistakes every single day. Trust me, I make so many mistakes. And remember, the plateau with language learning is normal. It's not failure. It's just a stage that you will overcome. And guys, I want you to remember that English fluency doesn't come from luck. It comes from good habits. So speak, listen, read, immerse yourself, and get feedback when you can. Do these things consistently and you're going to move from B1 all the way to C1, C2 so fast, I promise you. If you want to download today's lesson, I'll turn it into a PDF and I'll put that as a link in the description. And finally, guys, one of the biggest signs of fluency is actually your vocabulary size. So if you want to know your level, then watch this video next.